even by many scholars outside the field of economics. Principles of economics apply around the world and have applied over thousands of years of recorded history. They apply in many very different kinds of economies, capitalist, socialist, feudal, or whatever, and among a wide variety of peoples, cultures, and governments. Policies which led to rising price levels under Alexander the Great have led to rising price levels in America thousands of years later. Rent control laws have led to a very similar set of consequences in Cairo, Hong Kong, Stockholm, Melbourne, and New York. So have similar agricultural policies in India and in the European Union countries. Differences in economic practices from one country to another are also revealing. There were economic reasons why manufacturing enterprises in the days of the Soviet Union kept almost enough inventory on hand to last a year, while inventories of supplies in some Japanese companies, like Toyota, are only enough to last a matter of hours, with new parts and equipment arriving at the factory at various times during the day to be unloaded from trucks and installed immediately on cars as they are being assembled. Both of these very different inventory policies had a rational basis, given the very different kinds of economic systems in which they existed. Economics is more than just a way to see patterns or to unravel puzzling anomalies. Its fundamental concern is with the material standard of living of society as a whole and how that is affected by particular decisions made by individuals and institutions. One of the ways of doing this is to look at economic policies and economic systems in terms of the incentives they create, rather than simply the goals they pursue. This means that consequences matter more than intentions, and not just the immediate consequences, but also the longer-run repercussions of decisions, policies, and institutions. Nothing is easier than to have good intentions, but without an understanding of how an economy works, good intentions can lead to disastrous consequences for a whole nation. Many, if not most, economic disasters have been a result of policies intended to be beneficial, and these disasters could often have been prevented if those who originated and supported such policies had understood economics. Many people agree on the importance of economics, but there is much less agreement on just what economics is. Among the misconceptions of economics is that it is something that tells you how to make money, or run a business, or predict the ups and downs of the stock market. But economics is not personal finance or business administration, and predicting the ups and downs of the stock market has yet to be reduced to a dependable formula. To know what economics is, we must first know what an economy is. Perhaps most of us think of an economy as a system for the production and distribution of the goods and services we use in everyday life. That is true as far as it goes, but it does not go far enough. The Garden of Eden was a system for the production and distribution of goods and services, but it was not an economy, because everything was available in unlimited abundance. Without scarcity, there is no need to economize, and therefore no economics. A distinguished British economist named Lionel Robbins gave the classic definition of economics. Economics is the study of the use of scarce resources which have alternative uses. In other words, economics studies the consequences of decisions that are made about the use of land, labor, capital, and other resources that go into producing the volume of output which determines a country's standard of living. Those decisions and their consequences can be more important than the resources themselves, for there are poor countries with rich natural resources, and countries like Japan and Switzerland with relatively few natural resources but high standards of living. The values of natural resources per capita in Uruguay and Venezuela are several times what they are in Japan and Switzerland, but income per capita in Japan and Switzerland is about double that of Uruguay and several times that of Venezuela. The decisions that influence such outcomes are not only the decisions of individuals, or industrial or agricultural enterprises, or the policies of governments. Among the major decisions affecting economic outcomes are decisions about what kinds of enduring institutions a society has for making those decisions, what kind of economic system operating within what kind of legal system, and controlled by what kind of political system. In analyzing all these decisions and examining the evidence of their consequences, it is crucial to keep in mind at all times that the resources being used are both scarce and have alternative uses. When a politician promises that his